In FastTrack Schedule 10, there are two scheduling methods that we can utilize when assigning resources to our activities. Today we'll take a look at how to actually utilize those methods. In order to utilize these methods, we're going to switch over to a different layout that shows us some additional information about them. To do this, we'll go to Layouts and Resource Layout. The resource layout by default adds in 3 additional columns: resources assigned, effort driven, and work in hours. The first scheduling method that we'll talk about today is effort-driven scheduling. With effort-driven scheduling, we say that the amount of work to complete a task will always remain constant. For that reason, when creating effort-driven scheduling activities, we're going to start by estimating the total number of work hours that it will take to complete the task. So in this case, come down to our first blank task, row 4, come to our work hours column, and we can enter any value for work here. I'm going to enter 40 hours, so we assume that it will take a total of 40 hours across all of the resources that are assigned to complete this task. Once we enter 40 and press return, we'll notice that an activity bar is automatically created, and it's created with a duration of 5 days. This is happening because our default workday is set at 8 hours per day. So we take our 40 hours of work divided by our default day, 8 hours, to get a duration of 5 days. Now to assign a resource to this effort-driven task, all we need to do is use our resources assigned column. If you've already created resources, you'll notice that a drop-down arrow appears and we can easily select from that list of resources available. In this case, I'll assign Jenny and then press return. When we assign Jenny, you're going to notice that absolutely no change happens to that activity. It still has a duration of 5 days and the total work remains at 40 hours. The only time that an effort-driven activity is going to change is when we either increase the number of resources assigned or modify the amount of effort that each resource is applying. Let's go ahead and create a second effort-driven activity to see exactly how this will work. In this case, I'll come down to my second row, here, marketing and sales goals. I'll once again enter 40 hours and press return. Again, we have a 5-day duration activity, but now we'll go in and assign multiple resources. I'll assign Jenny once again, and I'll also assign Maria. After we assign our second resource, we can press return. In this case, we'll notice that our work remains the same because this is an effort-driven task, but our duration has gone from the original 5 days down to 2.5 days. The reason for this is because each resource does 20 hours of work for a grand total of 40 across the task, but they can do that work at the exact same time. Since the resources can work at the same time, our total duration is then cut in half to give us that 2.5 days. Now the second scheduling method that FastTrack offers is fixed duration scheduling. With fixed duration scheduling, we say that the duration to complete the activity will remain the same. So we can come over and estimate how many days will it take to finish that activity. In this case, I'll come to my next activity, customer market analysis, go to my duration column, enter 5 days, and press return. Now we may notice a few things when we begin working in fixed duration scheduling. Number 1, over to the right, we see a column labeled effort driven and it's still marked as yes. Even though that we've decided we want to do this as a fixed duration task, it's actually not set up for that. This means we're going to have to go in and modify this task. To do this, we can go to our effort driven column and change this to no. After we change this activity to not effort driven, we do still, however, have to change it to fixed duration. One way we can do this is by double-clicking on the activity bar. When we double-click on the activity bar, this will open up the information dialog. Here we can see our fixed duration box. We'll simply select this and then select close. Now with fixed duration activities, the other thing we'll notice is that there's currently no work hours being displayed. By default, work hours will not be added to a fixed duration task until we begin to assign resources. Once we assign resources, that work will automatically be calculated based on either the number of resources assigned or the amount of effort that each resource applies. So let's go ahead and start by assigning a single resource. We'll come to our resources assigned, and here I'll assign Paul. Once we assign Paul, again we'll press return, and we automatically see that 40 hours is populated for the work. Again, this is the same that we saw for our effort-driven scheduling. Our default is 8 hours per day times a duration of 5 days to give us that grand total of 40 hours. Now with fixed duration scheduling, the only time we'll see that work value change is when we begin to assign multiple resources or change the amount of effort that those resources apply. So again, just as we did with effort-driven scheduling, let's go ahead and create a second fixed duration task. Come over to our duration, enter 5 days, set this to not fixed duration. If you prefer to not always double click on the activity bar, we actually do have a dedicated column for fixed duration scheduling. You can add that in at any point in time by going to insert column, and we'll just go ahead and search down to F and then scroll down a little bit. Here we'll see fixed duration and OK. Now what we'll need to do is come to our fixed duration column for product scope and set this to yes. After we've set this to fixed duration, we can now assign resources. So here I'll assign Ryan, but I'll also assign Susan, and then press return. We now see that the activity is still 5 days because we've set it as fixed duration. However, the total amount of work would have originally been 40 hours with a single resource is now actually 80 hours. Again, the reason for this is because each resource does the default 8 hours per day across that 5 days. So we have 40 hours per resource times 2 resources to give us that grand total of 80 hours of work. In FastTrack Schedule 10, we can easily switch back and forth between both fixed duration and effort-driven scheduling methods at any point in time based on how we need our project to function.